we're very lucky to have two of the finest gentlemen out of the state of New York on our not just customer list, but also our cap table. And more importantly, they're willing to share their knowledge that they've gained with our customer base, as well as our family, our P&B family. And, you know, I always like to think back to when I first met somebody. And I remember the first time I met Mr. Michael Schatzberg, and I was actually in New York City for an event. I got asked to come to this restaurant called Big Daddy's, which is essentially like a really nice diner that has awesome food. But I was like, why would Big Daddy's put self-serve taps in there? And we meet there, and it's just a fully functional, you know, obviously diner. And he's like, yeah, well, this is, you know, we're going to turn this thing around in a month or two. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, that's impossible. Like, literally, there's no way this is happening in 2 months. And sure enough, he was like, all right, well, I did my research. We're going with you guys. And yeah, we'll be ready in 2 months. And sure enough, like they worked miracles. I've never seen, it was like Extreme Makeover and Bar Rescue all descended on this Second Avenue location. And they turned it around in like less than 2 months, and reopened as a new concept in the Upper East Side, and kind of a hybrid of their current concept with self-serve beer. And it was just it was a whirlwind experience. But I think anyone that does business with Schatzy and Jimmy will probably say that similar. That they don't mess around. They get things done, and their staff was extremely complimentary of them as well. So I thought this would be a great team to share with you guys, because I think they say like an artist doesn't ever feel like they're working. I don't think Jimmy and Schatzy, maybe I'm speaking for them, don't feel like they're working. It's a constant piece of art that they're kind of putting together, and also being entrenched in what's going on in the hospitality industry, what's going on in the technology industry, and they're taking their 30, 40, 30 years. I mean, I don't want to offend anybody. 30 years of restaurant experience, and applying that to that knowledge base. And then what you get is this kind of conglomerate of branded hospitality, branded strategic, and the other projects that they're involved in. So hopefully that wasn't too long-winded. I want to set the stage for these guys. Great people, more importantly. Not as someone who's had some bad business partners, I can honestly say that it's refreshing to deal with people that are just good people at the root. So hopefully you guys can enjoy these guys as much as I have over the last few years, and it's an open platform.
Before Jimmy gets started, I just want to say one thing, because Jimmy's going to get started. He probably won't stop for, I don't know how long this is. It's 45. So I'm just going to just jump in real quick to say that when I met Josh and I brought him up to the restaurant, it was Big Daddy's, it was functioning, it was a full service diner, and I said, we're going to turn this over to a concept called Duke's, and we're going to roll this over. And that you just brought that story up, that we turned that place in like 6-8 weeks. Jimmy always says there's certain things that are just innate that you don't even think about. So for me to take a fully functioning restaurant and flip it in 6 to 8 weeks, that comes fully natural. I wouldn't expect to do anything different. If you told me it was going to take 6 months, I'd be like, you can't do it in 6 months. We're paying rent. We got to get this thing done in 6 weeks. So it just comes completely natural to me. So I appreciate you saying that. I never look at things like that. I just say that's just the way it should be. How could it be any different, So I'm glad you brought that story up, because I honestly didn't think twice about it. But from the outsider looking in, I guess it is pretty cool that you do that.
Yeah, and just to give a little more context before Jimmy takes over the meeting and talks for 30 minutes without breathing.
Thank you.
The other thing is, so they have an interest in 35 restaurants in Manhattan. So if you're wondering geographically where they're based, that gives you a little context there as well. So I think an important part of the story that I want to make sure everyone kind of has a good understanding of, and Jimmy, I know Jimmy's itching to talk, so this would be a good one for him. I'd like you to take the people on the call, as well as people that'll see the video, on the journey of kind of like you told me, the open table experience, how when you experiment with open table, you liked it, you gave them tons of feedback, and then that kind of led to the whole, how can we use our current businesses as incubators for these these companies, because I don't want to go completely off the rails from self-pour, because that's the goal. But I think what's going to bring the most value to our family on this call, as well as people that'll see it, is what is this information that you guys have brought in, but how did you get to the place that you are in that process?
I would take the only step I take back in terms of branded is we've owned and operated stores in Manhattan for the last 25 years. And actually, to Josh's restaurant count, you're going to have to put a footnote next to that. And when we come out of COVID, we're going to figure it out because really it's going to come down to landlords that we're working with in an effort to see which stores really make the most sense to continue with. And I don't know everyone's geographic location, but I'm sure if you're in Chicago or in any type of urban environment, I'm sure you're under some pressures as we feel in New York, certainly. But in terms of branded, Schatzy's been the managing partner of our business for the 2.5 decades, and he's always been very tech kind of forward thinking and welcoming of technology. And to Josh's question about Open Table, 22 or 23 years ago, that was revolutionary to have somebody come to us and pitch us on an idea of doing reservations in a format other than call us up and write it down and whatnot. And then there was Seamless Web, and I still like to call it Seamless Web. I was working in the banking sector then, and my side job or my other job was working with Shatsy and our partner. And my company basically said all dinners, all late night ordering is going to have all meals in the evening for people working late at night. It's all going to be done on this thing called Seamless Web. And there's a limited number of restaurants. And Seamless Web launched as an accounting solution really for banks and law firms and other industries that were keeping employees into the evening. And we quickly tried that. And again, revolutionary in terms of delivery was a small part of our business 20-something years ago. Delivery was really synonymous with Chinese food and maybe pizza and maybe diner fare or a deli. But it really was a de minimis part of our business. And Seamless Web charged 5%. So again, a huge win. And you've heard of Seamless Web and you've heard of Open Table. And Schatz has always been willing to work and test and try technology companies that could bring advantages to our stores. And fast forward to when we launched Branded Strategic, but as I think collectively, and you guys all have your own experiences, I believe hospitality is truly the most misunderstood asset class because everyone thinks they understand it. If you know how to place an order online, you're a delivery expert. If you know how to cook a burger, you're a chef. If you know how to make a reservation, Open Table, you feel so comfortable since you know how to be a customer that somehow you feel you know how to operate a restaurant. You're a critic. The customer always is right. And actually, a lot of technology and a lot of investment gets made based on people's comfort level with being a customer. And that's how a lot of mistakes got made. So as Shatsy was telling me about the changing consumer behavior or customer behavior, as well as some of the inefficiencies, for example, of having my ordering a pint of beer requires at least 2 people to place the order, put it in the POS, it comes out on the bartender, pour the beer, put it on the server bar, run it to my table. As Shatsy was talking about the labor issues, we really started to think about how not only do we need to embrace technology for our stores, but then we started to develop the idea of shouldn't we as owner-operators be more involved in the development and the expansion of this technology landscape. So PourMyBeer and Josh and Tanya's company was really the first of our attempt to differentiate our stores in the neighborhood with respect to be the first bar that had a self-pouring concept. And trust me, if I answered the question about compliance and about responsibility for overpours or overserved or or underage, if I did nickel for every time I was asked one of those questions, I guess I'd have a pool and a basketball court in my backyard like Shatsy. But no, in all seriousness, but in all seriousness, the questions we've got to ask, and by the way, the questions are fine. The fact is, it's compliant, it works, and it was really our first foray into not just let's say embracing a tech, but really starting to make the company PourMyBeer the hero of our bar, and really getting everyone designing T-shirts, promoting the beer wall, getting the staff to support it, and again, it's it really launched our branded strategic business, which is the sister to branded restaurants, where we're now really more engaged with innovators like Josh and Tanya and the team at PourMyBeer to see how we can help them kind of continue to expand, and we try to be an ambassador for them. We think, it's not far off. A couple of years, you'll walk into a bar and you'll just say, oh, it's one of these serve yourself bars. Or you'll walk in, it'll be a full service bar. And there's room, I think, for both concepts, where you'll walk in a stadium and be like, oh, I could wait online and do the traditional get my beer or my beverage, or I can go to the self-pour. And we think it's going to be far more welcomed and embraced as we move forward, which is very exciting because we think it makes so much sense. Shatsy commented on some of the issues of, and I'm living up to my reputation of being a long talker, but we kind of factored in that we'd be able to reduce the bartender count. We kind of factored in that bar customers would enjoy the wall. I don't think we factored in, and it was a nice surprise, how many people would be sitting at a table with a server and would still want to engage with the wall because it was social. It's like small plates. You don't have to make a commitment to a full 16 ounces. You could try a little this, try a little that. You could talk with people at the wall about, what do they like? Why do they like it? And then to Shatsy's point, the more we actually started changing up what was on the wall and featuring the wall, we left the Buds and the Coors Light on the bar. And everything on the wall was different than what was at the tap on the bar. And we tried to make the more creative and crafts and the more interesting things on the wall because it seemed to promote us as all of a sudden experiential dining. And all we did was add this system, and we became an experiential place. So I'll surprise Shatsy, and I'll stop there. But in terms of branded, we have our restaurant business. We have our now advisory or investment business. And this continues to be a concept that we embrace so much that we are really looking to launch a new concept that will really make the self-pour system the hero. And we're going to leverage a number of our technology partners, but really the hero of the establishment will be the fact that you can uniquely serve yourself. And we'll have a high-end tequila bar or some scotches off the side. But if you want to drink, everything normal is coming off the walls, mixed cocktails. And we think there's really an appetite for it, especially for the millennials who really enjoy this type of experience. So I said I'd stop there, and I will.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the background on why self-pour? Why you started in the first place, and how you decided?
It's a great question, and I was a bartender before getting into the owning and operating. And Jimmy actually was a bartender too, so we have a love of spirits and the bartending and hospitality. We were looking for a new idea, and wages had just come down the pipeline. Wage increases in New York in the hospitality business, the minimum wage, and looking at trades and things like that, looking for a new idea, something that would just make it a little bit more exciting, something new when we were going to turn this concept into something new. And I looked and saw some things about this whole self-pouring. And there were a couple companies that do this, and I looked at a few different ones, and I loved the idea. Met with everybody, spoke to everybody. I ended up falling in love with Josh and his product. It was the best product I saw. It was the most stable product. It was the coolest product. It was the most forward-thinking product. It checked all the boxes that I thought needed to be checked as a multi-unit restaurant operator, integration to point-of-sale systems, reporting, all these things that we need. And then also, of course, that I said I need it in 2 weeks, and he's like, get me a deposit and we'll get it done. And that was another thing. He's like, we can have it done in 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, this is brilliant. This is the kind of people I need to be in bed with. And when we installed it, on the Upper East Side, there were really very few installs in New York. I think Josh took me to one in Manhattan at the time just to see what it looked like. And we got it going, and I got to tell you, the reaction was just so incredible. People they were at the wall tasting different things, trying different things, experiencing different things, communicating, socializing. It became a whole different ball game for that restaurant. Duke's was always an old school concept. We just kind of brought it up a notch, and we were selling more product. There was no loss, no waste. And as a bartender and an owner, you could really appreciate no loss and no waste, a keg, you lose 20%. It's zero. It's 100%. Whatever you buy the keg, you get 100%. And the socialization that everybody was doing, like, on Instagram and stuff, saying, hey, come here because check out what I'm pouring. And it became it's almost FOMO. Like if you weren't there using the whole self-pouring system, you were like, you were like a loser, so to speak. You know what I mean? So it was really, really awesome. And we started changing all the products really frequently, which made that pony kegs and stuff, they're only on for 2-3 days. So if you like something, if you didn't get there fast, it's gone and it would be the new thing. And just really having a lot of fun with it. And the customers really love it. And it's been just great. And, I'm just such a believer, to be honest with you. Full disclosure, we invested in the company. We invested in Josh and the company. That's how much we loved it.
That's awesome.
Am I allowed to say that? Was that okay?
Yeah, totally fine.
Because I was a customer. We were a customer first.
Yeah.
I was a customer. I had no vested interest. It was only after Jimmy and I saw how incredible this was that we said, we got to get involved in this company somehow.
And how did you secure the location? Did you know right away, like, okay, yeah, we are going to be turning Duke's, or did you think about this concept for another restaurant? Was it specifically for Duke's as a solution?
Yeah, no, Upper East Side, there was a couple restaurants that were kind of similarly situated in that space of what we were doing, that casual kind of sports kind of wing, place. We're closing. So the subway construction, it just ended on the Upper East Side for anybody from New York. It was going on for literally 100 years to build the subway. Story for another time. Anyway, it just was ending, and we said, you know what, if this is going to, start with this whole new subway, let's bring a whole new concept. So we've always had this concept, Dukes. We've always had a couple locations in New York. Everyone loves it. It's really very bar-centric, and it's right out of the subway station. So it really was a natural fit for the self-pouring. It was brand new. All these people were driving riding the brand new subway. So it was just really a natural fit. People would come in, they're like, oh, my God, this is so cool. You can pour your own everything. I mean, it was just like, and the funny thing is, people that were relatively tech savvy, I'm not like young people, were like, this is the coolest thing ever. You know what I mean? It wasn't like old people, like, whoa, like young 25-year-olds were like, whoa, you telling me I can pour whatever I want? Like, yeah. So it was just, again, it was really cool. It was really cool. And then you got a little cool factor.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Duke's layout and Duke's setup so the rest of the family is aware?
Well, yeah, I'll take a stab at that real quick, and then I'm going to let Jimmy take over. So we have a bar, like a whole bar side and a dining room. And in the dining area, a whole wall of screens that you can get up anytime you like and just pour your own whatever we're pouring. It could be kombuchas, it could be beers, it's wines, it's sodas, it's seltzers, whatever we want. And then we had a whole other side, which is like a bar kind of side. So people migrated from room to room to see what different products were on everything, So it really became a real scene.
So quick question for the offerings. You were saying that you have other things than just a beer, right? For the self-pour taps?
Yes, we were offering, it's pretty much anything in a keg. So we started out with just beer, and then Josh started educating us on that, it's not just beer, anything in a keg. And I was like, wow, what do you mean? He's like, well, you could put cocktails in these things. You could put, sparkling wine in these things. I was like, really? And again, so we started putting cocktails in them, kombucha, hard seltzers and sparkling rose, Prosecco's and changed it seasonally. So yeah, it was it was really exciting. So we started making margaritas and hurricanes and mojitos, and it's just a lot of fun.
I wanted to ask a little bit more about those third-party technologies that you mentioned briefly that you're using. I know you guys are using Bbot. Maybe the rest of the family might enjoy hearing about how you're using it and how it's helping your operations right now. And then anything else you're using, we would love to hear about that as well.
Sure. Chatch, would you like to?
Oh, sure. I'll take a stab at it. Bbot.
Anyway, so I was saying. Oh, sorry.
So
I was kidding.
Yeah. Oh, Jimmy. Slade of the day. That's Jimbo. Yeah, no, Bebot is a company. Again, we to follow in what Jimmy was saying. We always embrace technology. Always thought it was the cool, any area to find any way to find efficiencies in our business. I think a couple of years ago, the idea of using your phone to order and pay met the guys at Bebot, Steve and his team, and they were actually a funny story. They were actually launching a platform that would deliver bottles from the ceiling on rails to your table using your phone. So you can order a bottle of Grey Goose. And he started pitching that to operators, and operators like, I don't know if I'm going to put rails in. And he pitched to one operator in New York, and he goes, I don't know about this whole bottle delivery system, Steve, but I got to tell you, if I could have people order, a bucket of beers from their phone and pay for it, I'll run it to them. You don't need a rail system. I'll run it to them. You get me that, and I'm a customer. That was his first customer. We were right in there with, top 10 of in terms of customers, and we loved it. The whole idea of scanning a QR code, which right now it seems a lot more like, it's scanning a QR code. I did that last night, but 2 years ago, nobody was doing that. So we had the beer wall, and then you scan a QR code when you sat down, and you could just order on the menu whatever you wanted, pay for it, and then a server brought it over to you. So that's just another area that we were really excited about, still really excited about, and Bebot's doing real well, and we love it. But again, just the idea that people are just embracing some of this technology, and it's exciting stuff. So Bebot's doing a great job. We're super excited to be working with them.
What about Chowly? I think maybe you could talk a little bit about. I think Chowly's also in the branded family, and what's been interesting is that there's this kind of culture, where it could be tighter. I think where the companies could intermingle a little bit more, and I think COVID has made it a little more difficult. But with like Chowly, they're obviously growing pretty exponentially now, but they started off to basically eliminate tablets. But maybe you can go into that one a little bit more.
Yeah,
that's Jimmy. Jimmy likes to talk about tablet hell. It's his favorite.
I was just going to say, from a top-down perspective, our whole kind of foray or thinking about technology for our stores and our business, it starts with hospitality-centric, which we define as, is the technology, are they an ally to us as operators, or are they trying to take off our plates or eat off our, disrupt the relationship between ourselves and our customer and take from us. And I'm sure people on the call could think about companies that are in fact, kind of sticking in between themselves and their customers. So our kind of whole thesis is it's got to be a hospitality-centric company, which we find PourMyBeer very much to be. And then we think about what is the, three simple buckets. Does the technology help us drive sales? Does the technology help us cut costs? Does the technology help us address issues of compliance? And I ranked that last one, the compliance was ranked third because, let's face it, people would rather talk about making more money than they want to talk about saving money. And the last thing they really want to talk about is compliance, unless you're an owner and an operator and you know that is a critical piece of the puzzle. But it probably gets less attention than it should. And then sometimes we're very fortunate to find technology companies that address more than one. And I dare say, and actually I'll put PourMyBeer, and I know you asked me about Chowly, and I'll answer that question. PourMyBeer right now is uniquely checking all three boxes. We drive sales. We make more money because of the wall, because people are serving themselves, and we talked about that. Waste and theft and all that stuff. We save money based on the staffing changes, and we talked about that. And the compliance side has really come in now in light of COVID, or as we come out of COVID, of less touch points in terms of to get your beverage. And that is becoming very much in vogue, and I expect that will catch on. So right now, I think PourMyBeer is the only technology company we work with that checks all three of those boxes. To Chowly, Chowly is an online food integration platform, which is a mouthful. Essentially, it allows us to have any delivery service platform that we like, and the tablets that otherwise would have been used now gets integrated into a single universal cable box, and it integrates in our POS. Each tablet, for those of you that have more than one delivery and more than one delivery service, and we had at 1.6, and then thanks to Charlie, we took it up to 8 or 9 because we got rid of tablet hell, which is the issue of how many tablets you have. They all operate a little differently, and during peak hours, because we had a very robust delivery business, we'd have to assign 2 workers or 2 servers to man or person the tablets, work the tablets, and it's a job they didn't want. We used to actually make the weakest servers. Anyone who messed up, Shatsy would have the managers assign them to the tablet shift, which they hated. But it was really a labor issue that and having two. Oh, you did. They didn't sue us. But the tablet was a real issue. Also, away from just the labor, each tablet worked a little differently. And again, for those that have that experience, the way in which they work, the way in which you could be 86 an item, and then all of a sudden someone gets the order placed and you didn't get the 80, you didn't let them know fast enough. It really was a cluster F. And Charlie, again, and there are other companies that do it, but we vetted them and we chose Charlie. Our delivery service improved dramatically because it made the orders all come in, as far as our restaurant's concerned, the same way. So whether it came from Grub or DoorDash or Uber Eats or Postmates, it all, from our restaurant standpoint, came in the same clean way, integrated with our system. Tickets got rung up in the kitchen, and all of it was tracked neatly, nicely, and we got rid of the tablets and got rid of this. Didn't need to allocate the servers to that job that was really not, in our opinion, best use of the headcount as opposed to interacting with guests. And to Josh's point about connecting our partner companies and our friends with each other, I think about delivery right now. We talk about Charlie as a delivery source. We've made a big push to move to native delivery or white label delivery in response to the fees that are well known in the industry. The third parties jumped out ahead of us. They captured and really disrupted the relationship, and we've made a concerted effort to try to win customers back through the white label or native delivery platform that really is an offering that is as attractive with the user interface and all the integrations. So we don't want to do it ourselves, but we also don't want to give the business to the third parties. So Charlie's enabled us to keep all the third parties we want, but little by little, we're chipping away and converting customers to our white label solution, which is GoParrot. And then we connected Charlie and GoParrot, and they operate together. And combined, they become a very powerful bundled service to offer to restaurant groups. Because they're integrated and operating really, they're separate companies that have a wonderful relationship. They met on our platform, so I guess we created a marriage, and that's become a powerful offering again for restaurants because of how they are bundled, and you can basically get both with one phone call and get serviced essentially with one call because they speak so frequently. So kind of the way we're looking at the tech stack. We talked about BYOD, which is bring your own device and letting people order and pay at the table. We talked about Jolly as the online integration platform. GoParrot is that white native delivery, loyalty, and marketing. And then again, when you come into our restaurants, you have this experiential moment where you realize you're not just going to sit at a table and get served. You're going to be participating in the experience that PMB has created for our guests.
Can I have another question here?
Yes.
Since you are so, you have so much technology in your restaurant and you've tested so much, you know what's good and what's bad. I have a question here from Jason from the Dooryard. He's asking, what app are you guys using to push text messages to customers? If you're using any. I'm sure you guys are. You're using so many.
The text messaging that we're using now is a combination of a few different platforms we're working with. It's Yumpingo. We're working with Ovation. We're working with GoParrot. And I'd have to check with Julie. There's one more. But those are the 3 things that we're working with right now.
Okay, so you're clearly a collector. Like for you, one technology is not enough. But if some of our PourMyBeer family members just wants a recommendation for one that you think would work well for them, what name would you drop down?
Well, I guess maybe a better way to frame that might be what is the cost dramatically different between the 3 different services, and is one service kind of a multi solves multiple problems versus one's more focused on CRM?
Yeah, I think that they all have slight differentiations, and that's why we try different things in different stores, depending on what store it is and how it's what type of service model it is. But I think, if I had to pick one, I think Go Parrot. We like the integration, we like the user experience, the user interface the best. If I had to pick one, I'm going Go Parrot. They're all my children.
So Shatzy, I don't know if you can see the chat over here, but Jimmy is asking you a question here. I'm not even. Hey Jimmy,
I can't even
allowed to ask question. You're the speaker. You guys.
Yeah, Go Parrot. But we love Ovation. Ovation is great for feedback and reviews. We love Go Parrot for text messaging. Jimmy's screaming at me. I love everybody.
I'm not screaming.
I'm gonna have to get a list of all the technology that you guys have to share it with the family after this, because you've dropped like 12 different names. So I'm gonna have to do a research.
We're not even halfway done.
You mentioned that delivery is really big right now, and I mean it was big before as well. Obviously, it's not surprising with what's happening with the world out there. Can you talk a little bit more about about what percentage of your sales is delivery, how you're driving it, how you're pushing it, if you're advertising on specific platforms? Any tips you can share with the family would be super helpful.
Here's Shatzy.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, it's a great question. And just for all you listeners out there, understand, in New York City right now, where we are and our restaurants are all based, we have no dining inside. There is no indoor dining. So all we have is outdoor cafes and online delivery. So it's kind of, I think, very, very, very skewed to the rest of the country and so many other places, because we are 100% shut down inside. But to answer your question, nice weather, nice day. Cafes are lovely place in New York City to be. Rainy days, not so good. Online ordering, depending on where the neighborhoods you're in. New York City in the summertime, a lot of people are out of town. Again, familiar with the geography of New York or Manhattan, where we are, Upper East Side, Upper West Side, very dense population. A lot of high rises, so delivery and takeout is much more robust. You start moving downtown, it's not as dense, not as many high rises. Delivery and takeout not as robust. So it's a mixed bag, to answer your question. But yes, in New York, delivery and takeout have always been a big part of our business pre-COVID. The idea of ever leaving your apartment if it snowed or rained would be, literally, I think, illegal in some areas of Manhattan. You're not allowed to leave when it rains. You must order online. Everyone loves to order online. As Jimmy said, we've been doing it for years, long before there were platforms like Seamless Web, which we've been using for 20 plus years. I don't think people even can believe when I say that we have been using in Manhattan, and us as a business, we've been using online digital ordering platform Seamless Web, which is now Grubhub, for over 20 years. I think if you ask some people, they'll think that this is 2, 3 years, 4 years at best. That's how old this technology is, but it's 20 years old. So we've been doing it a long time. So people in New York are very much accustomed to it. And listen, it's great. It serves a great purpose. When you've got a big TV and you got Netflix and it's not nice out, nothing like having somebody bringing you a meal to the door, right, Jimmy?
I agree with that. Now to answer Tanya's question, we are using certain advertising. Yes, we are using certain advertising tools to help promote our own delivery. I did mention.
I didn't hear the question.
I did mention.
I'm used to getting a little bit longer answers with you two guys. It's all right.
I did mention GoParrot, who has a digital marketing component to it, but I'll say we're working with a company called Lucky Diem, which is really a loyalty platform, and the idea is that they are engaging with our customers to promote our brands. All of this is in response to us needing to win back customers. Don't let them go to the sites and just order wings or burgers. We want them looking, and we want them to come to us. So we've leveraged Lucky Diem for loyalty, and they do very well with the SMBs, which we consider our own stores to be. We've been working with a company and actually going to get more involved with a company called Targetable, which is very focused on social media ads. I like to think of them as an easy button for Facebook and Instagram ads. which are really one of the key ways in which we're communicating with our customers. But the Facebook ad portal is really difficult. So we've been working with Targetable, and we're going to be taking an active role and launching this really to focus on how to make it easier for heads of marcoms or even owners to get Facebook ads out there and geomap and try to promote their specials, National Burger Day or get tequila day, whatever it is. But we think promoting brands is critical. We've been using gimmicks, and I say that with only affection, of putting little cards in our packages, even if they go out with a third-party delivery platform. We're adding QR codes now to our packages that allow the customer to quickly give a review. We're working with a review company, a customer feedback company called Ovation, and it's really trying to help us allow the customer. They get to tell us what they liked or didn't like about the package, and no matter where they ordered from, we now know who that customer is, because when they were coming through the third party, they were more opaque. They were opaque to us. So allowing the feedback to come in. Sometimes we hear things we don't like, but at least we actually now get a chance to engage with our customer and let them know that we really want their feedback, and then certainly could promote, why they should maybe think about ordering from our own website. So those are some of the things, Tanya, to your question, that we've been using to promote.
Can I follow up with that?
Sure, Michael.
Now you said it all, Jimmy. That's it. I wanted to, what Jimmy just said. That's what I was going to say, but he interrupted me before I had a chance. I was teeing up that.
Schatzi, I'll give you opportunities to add more, because I think that it would be good to answer for the group on the QR codes. Are they leading the person that orders the food? Are they leading them directly to your Yelp or to your Google account, or where are those? Where is that feedback getting populated? Is it your website?
You had to ask me that question? That's the hardest question there is.
I'm sorry. I mean, I want to.
No, we don't. No, we prefer. No, we have in the restaurant space. We do not want people going to Yelp. So to answer your question, we use a company like Ovation and Yumpingo. We like to keep all comments, all remarks, all feedback in the family, giving us the opportunity to have actionable feedback. So ordering takeout, delivery, or in-house, you quickly get an opportunity to answer a very quick survey of how you like your food, how you like your meal, how you like your drink. You can customize that any way you like to the data points and things that you most care about, whether it be operationally or F&B. But we capture all that and we keep track of that, and then we get to engage with our customers to make sure if they weren't happy, we're going to try and make them happy. If they are happy, we want to continue to engage with them and direct them to our loyalty platform, like Jimmy said, get them onto our website, getting gift cards, anything like that, and rewards. We have a whole reward program. The more you spend, the more you get, and things like that. So, yeah, we try and keep people within our ecosystem and engage and constantly engage. To Jimmy's point, when you're ordering online, we'll throw stickers, we'll throw cards in the bag, even if you're ordering from a third party, and that will be directing them to our website or our app to get rewards or discounts or free fries, or we ran a promotion. We were doing some direct-to-consumer with Ben & Jerry's and Unilever. Order from our website, spend $20, get a free pint of Ben & Jerry's. That went really well. Anything to Once we get them on our platform, then we have their information. Then we, and that's our customer. We want to engage with them and give them all the best rewards and best points and free birthday dinners and whatever it is.
When you're looking at the total, revenue of a restaurant, or that maybe you're looking at it in terms of traffic, what percentage of your revenue, and maybe this is specific to New York or wherever, are you trying to have as repeat revenue? So it's someone who's been there before that comes back again. And then maybe further down that rabbit hole, what percentage of your revenue are people that are part of your rewards program or part of your, membership program?
Yeah, Josh, I'll answer it this way. I mean, in a perfect world, you want your repeat customers to be 100%. You want everyone coming in that door to be coming back. You want them all to be your regulars, because that's how, it is always easier to keep a regular happy and coming back than to try and win a new customer. From your business, customer acquisition is costly and time consuming. when I make somebody happy and they have a good delivery experience, a good dining experience, a good beer experience, whatever it is, and we engage with them, having them come back, I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's easier. And we look at that as like 75% of our business is repeats of people that we just see all the time.
Wow.
And, and it's, our restaurants are also in a lot of neighborhood places. We don't have a lot that it's really tourist spots. But I mean, the rest of that would be tourists and things like that. But we really work hard to try and keep these people, our guests, our customers, coming back and engage. And whether it be Instagram, Facebook, it's sending out coupons, it's sending out free birthdays, anniversary cards, emails that say it's your anniversary, get a free meal on us. All those things are super important. There's so many choices out
there. Are you tracking your member list though? Are you taking like an active, like, do you incentivize your staff to build the member list every week and you're celebrating?
Always. We use companies like review trackers to keep track of all our reviews. It's all aggregated and 100%. And we have a very, very sophisticated CRM, and we're constantly working with GoParrot and Lucky Beam, like Jimmy said, to constantly engage and reward our guests in any way to keep them coming back and spending their dollars with us. With so many choices, those are the kind of things we do. And we have a whole marketing team that does this.
I was only going to add that one area of the technology space we have not yet embraced, and just because we haven't felt that they meet the standard of the hospitality centric, the folks that offer the discounting programs, we have been reluctant to work with. The apps or the tech platforms that are essentially offering their customers, X%, 20 or 30, 40% off of a meal in our store. And our reason, and they have a great pitch about it's a customer we wouldn't have had, and it's incremental revenues. But I challenge that from a number of ways, and the simplest way I challenge it is they're actually creating two tiers, a first-tier customer and a second-tier customer, and they're making our customers, Josh, to your point, the loyal customers to our store, they become the second-tier customers and are the suckers for paying full price, because the discounted customers are being brought to us from this other source. And at the end of the day, how do I know that one of our customers isn't going to find out that he or she was paying more than the stranger who walked in because of the discount platform, and therefore say, well, the next time I go there, I'm just checking to see what's the discount I could get off this other platform. So that's something we've rejected, and we've instead promoted the loyalty and the gift cards that they buy from us. That they're getting these things because they have been a loyal customer. And we've allocated, I think, to Schatzy's point, a disproportionate of time and effort into that category, and we've rejected the discounting platforms because I think the discounting platform becomes, I don't want to say a race to the bottom, but you basically are going to condition your own customers to expect discounts, not just from your store, but encourage them to find the deal of the day somewhere else. And that's not what we think hospitality is about. You're a guest of our store. We should be we should be hospitable, and doing it with, I'm sure some of you fly when we used to fly, you had your favorite airline because of the points. You probably had your favorite car rental because of the points, or hotel because of the points. All of that matters. And that we think is something that's very effective in our industry. And I think the consumer base is used to that and very comfortable with that type of reward system, and less about I got a discount off, some Groupon site, and I can come eat for 30% off my bill. And that's we stayed away from that space as we think it's damaging, for our loyal customers.
Well, what's been your most effective tool to get someone to sign up for the member list?
Sorry. Sorry. I thought you were asking a different question. I thought our most favorite effective technology. Sorry, what was your question?
What's been the most? I assume you've tested a lot of different ways to acquire people on your member list. Of all the, I guess, tricks, what's been the most effective way to add team member or add, members to your membership rewards program?
I think for us, it's still between email and the phone number is still the easiest way of doing it. People still are good with that and like it. And if it's a brand that they engage with, they sign up and are happy to engage with you and get communications with you. Especially, like I said, we have a whole program where you get a free birthday dinner, a free anniversary dinner, and people only get that through email. So I think that really keeps them engaged.
So your staff is telling them, hey, Mrs. Smith, if you give me your email address, you get a free dinner, and they kind of sell them on that at the point of purchase or when they're closing out their check, or where is this conversation taking place?
Yeah, I think what we're finding is we're capturing a lot of this information using the technology like the B-bots, where you're opting into our email system or your text system. That's going into our CRM. And then after your meal, you're getting a thank you for dining with us, add your birthday and get a free birthday meal. And I think, it's just ridiculous at how many people do that, because
really,
even if you don't ever use it, who wouldn't want a free birthday meal? It's like for two. It's like the greatest deal in town. People would sign up for like 8 email addresses to get it. And I guess, we got a little abuse like that. But you know what? That's okay. Like Jimmy said, we're hospitable. I'm happy. If you want to beat the system like that, we don't care. It doesn't include alcohol, so we always get you on the alcohol.
Besides the reward program, what other marketing technique has worked particularly well for you guys?
I think, like Jimmy said also, I think Targetable as a company, we've always used Facebook and Instagram. That's always been a big thing. Instagram is so powerful today, especially in F&B. Everyone's showing you the Instagrammable milkshake, the beer, the great dessert, whatever it is. Everybody's taking pictures. I mean, people were complaining that their food was cold, and then the waiter or the manager come over, like, the food was hot when you got it. You took a half hour of pictures. That's why it's cold, So I think, using Facebook and Instagram and trying to navigate doing the ads was a little complicated. We found Targetable to be a company that we've engaged with that makes it very easy to run ads. Instead of spending 15 or 20 hours a week doing it, 1 hour, one person can run like 4 or 5 restaurants ads for the next 2 weeks. And it's really all with very sophisticated algorithms and identifying, the demographic, who likes what, and where I should be putting pictures of beer. I'm not going to send a vegetarian a picture of a hamburger. They're going to get, vegetarian dishes or salads or things like that. And we found that to just be incredible ROI and wonderful. And again, Lucky Diem, really inexpensive. The cost per click and getting driving traffic was super inexpensive. Again, it's our own in-house discounting program. We decide what we're giving. We decide the reward, and it's our customer, and we engage with that customer.
On the contrary now, which marketing techniques did you try that did not work so well for you and that you would recommend everyone to stay away from?
Wow, I wish I had Julie on the line for this one. I mean, it's like I try and focus on the ones that are working.
No, you
have to get back.
You take credit for the ones that are working, and you blame Julie for the ones that don't work.
Yes, exactly. I'm telling you the ones that we like that work. The ones that didn't work were Julie picked those, and they were horrible, and I chastised her for those.
What about Post Malone liking your chicken fingers and saying they're the best he's ever had in his life? Was that a paid?
Post Malone is an honest, great person. He knows what he's talking about. What else can you say?
He's a chicken finger connoisseur. No, I would say, 100%. and Shatsy is the managing partner of the restaurants and far more in the weeds of this than I am. I will say that I observed, like one of those meal passes, and that's for example, Meal Pass, and I have nothing but love for the company, but when we were hitting it with Meal Pass, our kitchen got, and for those of you who don't know what Meal Pass is, you pay a subscription, you get these specials, and essentially, if we're using this platform, we offer up 1 or 2 dishes on a day, and we'll sell the lunch for a very low price. And the idea is it's to bring the customer into our store. They get this discounted meal, and then they experience. They see our store and they come back. But what ended up happening is our guests, our kitchen got slammed by the people that were all doing this for lunch, and all of a sudden we had a lot of traffic. And the guests that were coming into, this is a takeaway thing only. And our kitchen would get slammed at lunch, and then therefore the guests that were really coming in the manner of which we wish all of our customers would, were getting a less treat, or the experience was less than, because we had ramped up this grab model, takeaway model, in connection. And I'm not picking on meal passes, but it goes back to the
You are a little
discounted
bit, Jimmy.
story. Yeah, fuck it, I am picking on them. So we got a lot of volume, and in my opinion, it damaged the experience on any given day we activated it. The more successful we were on that platform, the more our in-store diners felt that they were being, again, not treated as well as had we not engaged with that platform. So I think that to me was watching that happen. I felt that's something I don't expect us to be using anymore.
So now let's address the elephant in the room since we're coming to the end of our call over here. Let's talk a COVID strategy. Clearly, you've already mentioned that unfortunately right now you cannot have people sitting inside in New York. But what are some steps that you have taken so far, and how are you preparing for when you can open? What are you going to be doing to keep the customer safe and your staff safe?
Well, I think that we've been following all the guidelines in New York City from all the various departments and doing a lot of great, whatever it is, all the different the social distancing, the cleanliness, et cetera. I think we're also looking towards technology there as well, not to confuse people more, but I think, we've been using a company called Blanket on the best practice side to make sure that not only are the general restaurant things getting done, but now even these heightened, more sensitive cleanliness and COVID-related things are getting done. So Blanket gives us the ability to our managers to track. We can track our managers can track their staff, and so on and so forth, of all the tasks each day, each minute, each hour, what's getting done, is it getting done right, the checklist, time-stamped, pictures to prove it's done, yellow lights meaning it's almost done, red lights meaning it's not done, green lights, how long it takes. So really working again with technology to make sure that our guests and our employees' safety is first and foremost. And I think rather than just having a checklist in the back of the bathroom door or a checklist on a clipboard like the old days, I think taking to the next level where it's digitally timestamped, it's kept in a database. You can see who's doing what, what's not getting done on a regular basis, and start looking at it over a longer period of time, and then saying, hey, look, our bathrooms don't seem to be getting done the right way all the time, retrain. So really using that to better understand where we're falling short, where we can do better, where we're doing great, rewarding those employees who are doing great, continue to train those, and the people that aren't, train them better. And then really, first and foremost, let our guests know how hard we are working on that. Mm-hmm. And Blanket's doing a great job with that, and we've been working with them for a while, and we love it.
Terrific.
The only thing I would add, if that's okay, is I think COVID to us is, despite the real pain it's hit our industry with, and obviously loss of life, we don't think it's actually going to change much of our industry as much as it is accelerating what was otherwise happening. For anyone that's traveled, pay at the table has existed in Europe, Asia, South America, up in Canada for 20 years. It barely existed here in the States for whatever reason. And since I'm already well known as a long talker, I'll just say there are reasons, but it wasn't embraced in the States. And we've now leapfrogged over pay at the table, blown through tablets and kiosks, and now it's use your own device. And I think a lot of the things that there are certain things going on now during COVID that I think people are starting to recognize have value. 90% of our off-premise sales were delivery pre-COVID. Now it's 50-50 delivery and takeout. I think takeout is going to make a big comeback. It's going to stay. It's more secure in terms of food safety, and that's an issue for I'm sure all of our guests. Temperature, that's an issue for our guests. Price, we've shifted in New York. They've regulated they've capped the fee at 15%. So now the delivery companies are hitting the customers with whatever the balance was that they've lost. So all of a sudden, our guests are seeing for the first time the price of delivery has gone up, And all of a sudden, they're getting used to going out, taking a walk, and it is more hospitable to go to your favorite joint, say hi to your manager, your bartender, pick up your food, maybe have a drink. I think takeaway is going to make a big comeback. So to your question, Tanya, about what are we doing to embrace, the post-COVID world, a lot of the things we were doing leading into COVID have now accelerated, and some of the things we've learned during COVID, I think, are going to stay, such as takeaway being a far more fulfilling part of our sales, because customers seem to really like it.
Jimmy, Schatzy, thank you so much. It was amazing. I'm gonna have to get a list of all the tools that you're using so I can share it with the family, because there was a lot of names. Thank you so much.
Happy
this
to.
was really helpful.
Yeah, this
Thank
was
you.
fun. This was a lot of fun.
Appreciate
I was
you
going to
guys.
throw a part in there about Miss Cleo being a big part of your success. You rely on psychics and palm reading, but I wasn't able to interject that.
Well, Jimmy took up most of the time. Thank you, guys. This was great.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Have a
Enjoy the pool, Shats.
I will. Thanks, everybody.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.